We begin in Abuja, where President Bola Tinubu has directed security agencies to fish out the masterminds of the killings and violence in Mangu local government of Plateau State and in Benue State and ensure they face the full wrath of the law. The president also reaffirmed his government's strong determination to stamp out violent crimes and all forms of criminalities elsewhere in Nigeria. He says there is the need to rebuild trust and restore harmony to these conflict areas and urged community leaders, religious leaders, traditional leaders, social-cultural organizations, as well as leadership of Arewa Consultative Forum, Jabatu Nasr Islam, and Christian Association of Nigeria to work together to help foster genuine and long-lasting peace. The president also charged the governments of Plateau and Benue states and emergency response agencies to provide support and immediate relief to victims who have been displaced as a result of the conflict. And the House of Representatives has called on the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu to declare ongoing killings in Mangu local government and surrounding communities in Plateau State a national emergency. This is on a day the Speaker announced the composition of a 9-member committee to screen the recently appointed service chiefs. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa has details.
Mangu local government area of Plateau State has been a theater of war in the past months. At the last count, more than 300 lives have been unjustly terminated by suspected militia, several people injured, and more than 18,000 people displaced.
May the soul of the departed rest in peace. Amen.
Dachong Bagos, representing Jos South, Jos East Federal Constituency of Plateau State, rises on a matter of urgent public importance to seek an end to the orgy of killings that has become the lot of the affected area.
There has been an increase in the rate of insecurity and killing of innocent souls by persons who have been tagged as suspected herdsmen.
If the Office of the National Security Advisor comes into this, there will be a difference. He needs to coordinate all the relevant security agencies.
Lalu Ishaya is the new member representing Mangu Bokos Federal Constituency. He seeks the presence of mobile police force squadron to safeguard lives and properties in the area.
The continuous attack by the terrorist group in the communities, if not addressed immediately, will lead to low farming yield, which will worsen the existing food uncertainty in the communities.
About 6 weeks after the removal of petrol subsidy, the House wants the federal government to lift the ban on the sale of the commodity in communities close to land borders.
Despite the removal of the subsidy on petroleum products by the government since May 2023, the ban is yet to be lifted, thus causing hardship to millions of Nigerians living and conducting businesses within the affected areas.
The House is also to probe alleged unfair relocation of traders at Apple Market in the FCT.
I have with me a petition from the Apple Traders Association seeking the intervention of this great chamber regarding their unfair and unjust and incessant relocation from one part of Abuja to another.
University students and their parents may now heave a sigh of relief if the government acts on the call for the immediate suspension of the planned increase in tuition fees across federal government-owned universities nationwide. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has asked the Senate to confirm the appointment of the new service chiefs. President Tinubu's letter of request was read by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, during Tuesday's plenary. He said the service chiefs would be screened by the entire Senate in the Senate chamber on a yet-to-be-announced date. The service chiefs for screening and confirmation by the Senate include Major General Christopher Musa, Chief of Defense Staff Major General Taurid Lagbaja, Chief of Army Staff Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, Chief of Naval Staff and Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar, Chief of Air Staff. The Senate is also set to investigate the huge expenditure on premium motor spirit under the subsidy regime. This resolution followed the consideration of a motion by the senator representing Imo North, Chinwuba Ndubweze, at Tuesday's plenary session. National Assembly correspondent TVC News reports.
The removal of fuel subsidy and its ripple effect on the Nigerian economy has got lawmakers talking. The lawmakers are curious to know how these huge funds allocated to sustain the subsidy regime was expended. Although President Tinubu had already announced an end to the subsidy regime in his inaugural speech, these lawmakers say the matter is too grave to be swept under the carpet.
Worried that NNPCL's arbitrarily and unsupervised direct deductions from the country's crude oil revenue without recourse to any enabling law contravenes Section 89, 1C and 1D of the 1999 Constitution as amended, and does not speak well of the good intentions of the federal government, especially in the fight against corruption.
In view of the hardship unleashed on Nigerians as a result of the withdrawal of fuel subsidy, there is a need for the government being responsible and responsive to the yearnings and sufferings of Nigerians to come up with ways and means of giving succor and cushioning the effect of the fuel subsidy withdrawal on Nigerians.
Welfare for the citizens of Nigeria. So if these savings are utilized judiciously, it will ensure welfare for the citizens of the country.
I also note that the Senate has, in the course of the debate, commended Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for the decision to even remove this subsidy. So I think that must also be noted for gentlemen of the press, that we are very excited for the courage, and we look forward to the palliatives that will come to ameliorate the sufferings that the decision could have engendered on Nigerians.
The motion was, however, stepped down till another legislative day when the Senate would have constituted its relevant standing committees.
The Senate is set for a busy week as it prepares to meet the service chiefs, screen them, and hopefully confirm their appointments. Things are also gradually taking shape in the life of the 10th Senate as 9 special committees have been constituted, with Senator Adiola Olamilekan appointed as chairman of appropriations. The remaining 69 committees will be constituted and announced at a later date. TVC News, Abuja.
The Comptroller General of Nigeria Customs Service, Adewale Adeniyi, has met with President Bola Tinubu to brief him on the vision and strategy of the Customs Service under his leadership, particularly aligning with the desire of the Tinubu-led administration to shore up revenue. The customs boss commended the decision of the government to implement the removal of fuel subsidies, saying it has significantly caused a decline in the rate of smuggling of petroleum products outside the country.
Came around first to express gratitude to Mr. President for finding me worthy of being appointed the Acting Comptroller General of Customs, and also to felicitate with him for his recent appointment as the chairman of ECOWAS. For us in the Nigeria Customs Service, ECOWAS represents a very bold attempt to forge regional integration, cooperation in border security, in monetary affairs.
Well, it is not true that all Nigerian borders have been opened. The situation, the status quo ante still existing in the borders. If you remember that the borders were completely shut down 2018 up until 2021, 2022, when some selected strategic borders were reopened.